Hey baby, how we doing? How we doing? Today's the day. Today's the day. Today's the first stream of the new year. Welcome to 2025. How is it treating you? Um, how is it treating me? Well, I am optimistic for this year. I feel, I feel, I feel like this year it's looking up, 2024 is dead. 2024 is gonna go die under a bridge. It's gonna slowly rot away, and I'm gonna pass by every now and then and laugh at its corpse. Um, Haha, you're never coming back. 2024 is never coming back. So, in my opinion, that is a good thing. 2024 is gone. Rest in peace. So look at this. We're not 24 anymore, baby. We're getting old, going bald. Hey, life is good. Um, what do they say? Less hair, more wisdom. Less hair, more wisdom. So that means my wisdom is starting to increase at a pretty fast rate. You know, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So it's 11:18. B. We're starting a little bit late. Chatted up with an old friend. Haven't talked to the old friend in a long time. Shout out to Aaron. Hope you're doing good, my dog. Um, and yeah, so this year, if you have kids, just I have 3 kids, so if you have children, make it a point to tell your kids you love them. Tell them they're doing a great job. Tell them you're proud of them. Anyway, so we are unfortunately still working on this project. Thought I would have been done by now. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I have made major breakthroughs in the final systems that I was having to implement. And when I say final, I'm knocking on wood, and I do mean final. We're not adding any more systems. Um, like, there's nothing new on the horizon. This is it. We're going to finish this project. We're going to finish our... What do we have to do? We have to finish, and these 3 systems are sort of like all kind of relying upon each other and coagulated, and they are existing in tandem with one another. They're connected to each other's hips. So we have the reconnect system for disconnecting clients to be properly reconnected, which implies a perfect save system, so that whenever their computer crashes and they start back up and so on and so forth, they are able to get back into their game that they were playing. Ideally, that's the goal, and that all their data will have been saved, and bam, like a real deal video game where you don't have to save it. It's like persistent, like World of Warcraft, Overwatch, whatever. You just like log back into the game, and you're back in exactly as you were when you disconnected. So, slice my finger open. I don't know how, but it's just a scratch. And then thirdly, that implies a menu screen, which menu screen is, I think it's gonna be pretty easy. It's just like a new screen, and that the client will start from, that's like offline, and then they can choose various things. Not too many things. Like, I'm not making a AAA title here, right? We're just making a basic game, so I can say, hey, look what I did. I'm so smart, I would do this. Now, can you give me a job, please? Anyway, I know there's a lot of things that I still have to learn on top of when I finish this project, but I feel like this is definitely going to distinguish me as someone who, at the very least, didn't give up and kept on going and finished what I think even like senior developers would call pretty intense, difficult project. Yeah. Anyway, so let's jump in. That's enough talking. Let's jump in. Let's do the work. So I'm going to set my timer here, because I'm not going to count that towards my 68 minutes, because I was just jabbing at the jaw. I wasn't actually, working. Talking is not working. Talking is not working. Talking does work though sometimes. You know what I mean? All right, so here we are. Um, we are. Let's read our devlog from last time we worked, which was days ago. Damn, that was 3 days ago. 1, 2, 3. I can't count. Sorry, guys. So 3 days ago, on the 30th, we did 2 sessions, and lastly, we had began our first pass implementation for a reconnect system and associated files systems. Again, first pass implementation for reconnect system associated system. Created some new files such as save logic pi and reconnect logic pi. Made near final pass of pseudocode for said systems in things to do, and modified the file to reflect new goals. Tidied up client pi a bit, removing some comment notes we had added in the past couple of days. Made near final pass of pseudocode for said systems and things to do. Modify the file to reflect new goals. Tidy up client pi a little bit. Old comments. Okay. Yeah, I'm feeling a little fuzzy here. I'm trying to wake up. I'm sipping on my second coffee. New Year's threw me off. Stayed up really late. Way too late. Kind of threw me off of my, you know, my little routine and having energy and all that. So we're going to power through this, and this is going to be productive. So we're going to. Okay, so I think, like, where exactly should I pick up at? First of all, let's start here. And as per usual, let's actually start with a little playthrough to see if everything works. So we're gonna crank up the server and the clients. Alright, so we've got 2 clients running, and let's go ahead and see if make sure my stream's working. My volume's working, and I'm not like overpowered by my music or whatever. So let's pause the penguin. Peak focus for complex tasks. Alright, so we've got 2 clients running, and let's go ahead and see if make sure my stream's working. Okay, stream looks good, baby. Stream looks amazing, baby. Stream looks amazing. Fucking forgot to. Man, dumbass. I clicked the wrong thing there. Okay, looks like the prime's also there he is. There he is. Stream looks amazing. Stream's extremely amazing. The stream's extremely amazing. If only I had Thor's beautiful voice. Sounded like Rico Suave, you know. Oh, memes to laugh. You know what that means. Stream's extremely amazing. Alright, there we go, baby. Stream's extremely amazing. Oh god. My man needs needs to relax. Alright. Relax, dude. Relax. Calm down, baby. Calm down, baby. Alright, so let's do it. Okay, what is your name? Your name is Joshua. Prepare to play Canasta. What's your name? You'll be Merrifield. So we got Joshua, we got Merrifield. They're playing against each other. He's gonna pick a card from the stack, but it's not actually a stack. It's a what you call it? What do you call it? Baby. Alright, baby. He's gonna be dealt his hand, and I'm just feeling like man's gonna be lucky here, and I was totally wrong. He was not lucky. He was the opposite. He didn't have shit. Damn. Not even a 2-piece. Whoa, hold up. He literally has a 4. Oh, no, he got 2 5s, 2 9s, 2 8s. Okay, it's not as terrible as I thought. Yeah, but Joshua's doing much better. He's got a much better hand. He's got it going on, baby. Okay. I was mixed up there about who was who. Let's play that shit, cuz. Play that shit, cuz. Play that shit, cuz. Play that shit, cuz. Whoa, I didn't know he had the 3-piece on the 5, but 5s are only worth 5 points. So you know what that means. We're gonna... Oh, that's weird. Oh, okay, no, it's not weird. That worked. Yeah, and that's bugged. That's wrong. That's incorrect. Alright, so now he's gonna discard, and let's get rid of the, let's get rid of the 4, because we only have one of them. So he discarded the 4, and there he goes. And now he's gonna draw from the stack. He got a queen. He's gonna play his card. Man, I tell you what, this thing is running smooth as butter, baby. Smooth as butter. So he's got some high ranks here. He's got double aces, baby. He's got 2 queens, baby, 2 jacks, a joker, which is worth 50. He's running hot right now. We're gonna give it to the aces because aces are worth 20. We're gonna slap that joker onto that meld, so that's a 90-point meld off the bat. And because the score is bugged, it is incorrectly telling me that I only have 10 points when in fact I have 90. So we're gonna fix that eventually, but for now we're just gonna get rid of the 4. As you can tell, if I ever get 4s, I don't like them. I let them go. I just don't like them. Alright, so that was a good enough little test. We are gonna put this in the devlog. Look at all that logging going on. Mega log, baby. Alright, so from 11:18 to 11:30, we did a quick play test. Test everything is working as it was. Alright. So now we're jumping back in to our next task, and I suppose I'll start here again because this code here is the new it is the new proposition for the structure of the client file. So first of all, we are going to introduce a new while loop that the client file is going to basically, like, this whole file is going to exist in the while loop. So right here where it says CS loop, that's all of this code, like these 300 lines, basically, you know, from here, from 321 all the way to 636, yes, that's like 300 lines, is gonna be inside of this new function called CS loop function. And we're gonna run a while true. We're gonna enter into the menu screen, which is gonna be offline. So this is gonna be an offline interaction, whatever you call it. And then it's gonna check to see if we're reconnecting. If we are reconnect, or would you say if reconnect is equal to true, determine which part of the main while loop to re-enter using checkpoint system and line tracking system. Okay. Okay, so that's my question right now. What I know we were working through that. We were trying to determine the proper method to use um, for re-entry into the main while loop. Okay, I remember. I remember. I remember. I remember. So, yeah, we're gonna do the checkpoint system. That was actually let's reconnect via while loop. Yeah, we already know that. Move line this currently would be here after the while loop. Instead. Okay, yeah. So, one out of two things we could do next, and that would be work on um, the checkpoint system, or we could begin to restructure um, the main while loop. And I think what I'll do is we're gonna flesh out the this section right here, this little brainstorm section, because I feel like this is good. I want to basically continue on this train right here. So we have the while true menu screen, and then they're gonna choose, let's say, choose to reconnect, connect slash reconnect. Oh, butchered that, didn't I? Motherfucker, dude. Can I type? Sorry, excuse the language. Watch that mouth. Choose to connect, reconnect. Alright. And that's basically the, like, you know, that's basically the only option we're gonna have. Maybe, like, see a scoreboard. See scoreboard. That was one thing I wanted to implement, was like a database that stored like scores and stuff. But we'll see, right? This was something that I thought about long time ago, and it's if we add it, we add it. If we don't, we don't. Anyway, so then if we choose to connect, so then we'll say if. Actually, we'll just put this here. We'll say if connect, then booyah, we will check to see if reconnect is equal to true. So if we choose to connect, then if reconnect is equal to true, we need to determine which part of the main while loop, and then elif reconnect is equal to false. Just CS loop straight up, like we don't even, you know, we enter from the beginning. Enter from beginning. Enter main loop from beginning. Alright, so then we have the try except is within. Duh, obviously. So how do we, like, could we make it to where whenever we call the CS loop, we could pass in an integer, and the integer would be the checkpoint? You know what I mean? So we have like checkpoint 1 through 20, and if we are reconnecting, then we wouldn't just call the CS loop straight up. We would pass in a integer. So like we'll just say int. We'll say int of checkpoint, or we'll call this checkpoint int, and just gotta try except within, blah 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 blah. I don't like how I do that. CSU checkpoint int try except within, and also baby, what do we do next, baby? CSU checkpoint int try except within. Sorry, I was AFK there. I'm back. CSU checkpoint int try except within. Yeah, use checkpoint int. Yeah, use checkpoint int to determine point of re-entry. Baby, it sounds great, baby. And then we will that's right, big money. CS loop contains various, we could just say so this is the question right now, how to segregate the checkpoint sections. Like for instance, do we just have like, would we just have inside of the CS loop function a series of if elif? Like if checkpoint int is equal to 5, then, or rather if checkpoint is equal to 1 at first, run this section. So run this section. And then elif equal to 2. Run this section. Or because another way to do that, like if we did it this way, we would have to say if checkpoint int is equal to 1, or if let's see, if checkpoint int is equal to 1, or if like reconnect is equal to false. So that would be one way to do it, but that would mean on every section we would have to check to see if reconnect is equal to false. I mean, which isn't terrible. I just feel like it would be better structured or optimized if we could just check to see if reconnect is equal to true or false off the bat, and if reconnect is true, like we would just run the code straight up. You know what I mean? Like we wouldn't check checkpoint int. We would just like if we had it as it currently existed without being segregated, it would just run through the main while loop as normal. And whenever we were running it from a reconnect, we would pass in the checkpoint int to the CS loop function call, and it would first check to see if reconnect was equal to true, and in this case it would be true. So then in that case we would check the endpoint, the checkpoint int, and start from that point. And I'm just thinking how best to do that. How do we do that, like the smartest way? How would that look exactly? Need water. Need water, baby. Okay. So, oh, all right, baby. Come on, let's go. Oh, the tired is hitting me. No time for being tired, baby. Wake up. Go wake up. Went to work, split. I actually like splitting unless they go too fast, which they went too fast at a certain part, and it was like FML. And then it's not fun at all. Then it's like you want to kick somebody in the head, you get angry. So it sucked the energy right out of me. But the coffee will keep me on. Will keep me going. Okay. So there's two things I'm thinking right now. One of them is we could divide all these checkpoint sections into individual functions. I don't want to do that because that is going to require like a lot of argument passing. You know what I'm saying? It's going to require a lot of parameters, a lot of arguments. It's going to require the creation of a significant amount of code. And it's, that is going to be a high likelihood of introducing new bugs to the project. And I really don't want to do that. I like the idea of that. It is very tidy. It is very to the point. It would be very compact. It would be beautiful, but it would be more difficult and definitely would be more risky than the other option. So here's the other option would be basically that how I have it written here, where we would check Well, this light just started flashing. It's crazy. Um, it's weird. Anyway, um, so yeah, we have and the second option would be to write it out such as we have it here: if checkpoint in is equal to 1, or if reconnect is equal to false. And within that option, there are two options, right? So here's one of the options. The first option would, we would have exactly how it's written here: if checkpoint in is equal to 1, or if connect is equal to false, and we would check that every little section. We would just say if checkpoint in is equal to blank, or if reconnect is equal to false, and that's perfectly fine. Or we could have a separate execution of the code, like so this from line 300 to 600, whatever, the main while loop, we could have it to where at the beginning of the CS loop, it checks if reconnect is equal to true. And if it was false, we would check if reconnect is equal to false first, because it's more likely that you're not reconnecting, because reconnects, I would say, are rare, are the exception and not the rule. So you always like want to check for the rule first, and then check for the exception second. It just makes more sense, you know, to put the more likely option first instead of putting it later. It's more likely to be the first option. It's like smarter. Anyway, so we would say if reconnect is equal to false, which means you're connecting to a new game, then we just have the main while loop as it is, without any segregation, whatever. And then we could say elif, or else we say elif reconnect is equal to true. Then in that case, we have a whole separate block of code that is a segregated form of the main while loop. See what I'm saying here? So like, you would only ever use the checkpoint system when you're reconnecting. The checkpoint system would not like be used really unless you were reconnecting, and the structure of the code would not be segregated into checkpointed sections. Now the problem that, as I'm thinking about it, it seems like there would be a problem with that option, namely that whenever we reconnected and ran the reconnect segregated system, how do you re-enter into the non-segregated normal version of the main while loop? You know what I mean? So like, I guess basically a solution to that would be you would only run the segregated portion the first time, like the first iteration of the main while loop. So let's say you disconnected at checkpoint number 5, right? So now when you come back to the game, you want to re-enter into checkpoint 5 of the main while loop. And that means you would have to check your checkpoint int. When you call CS loop, you pass in that particular checkpoint int, which would be 5, and in that case, it's gonna then check if reconnect is equal to true, which it would be, and then it's gonna go to that segregated version of the main loop, and it's going to find the 5th section, and it's gonna start from there, and there's gonna be logic in the reconnect, we'll call it the reconnect main while loop, that's functionized, modularized, whatever word you want to call it, and then it would move from 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to so on and so forth. And it would move all the way to the end. Once it gets to the last checkpoint, we'll just say 20. At that point, we don't want to continue using the reconnect version. We would just switch back to the non-segregated version, and that would imply that the non-segregated version would exist as a function, which is fine and it shouldn't be too hard. Would probably have to well, I was thinking technically we wouldn't necessarily have to call it as a function, because I don't like the idea of turning it into a function, because that implies the creation of parameters and args and having to pass in, certain things, as to where if we just naturally transitioned from the reconnect segregated version of the main while loop, like got to the end of it and then picked up where we left off, or rather we would just transition to the normal non-segregated main while loop, and then it would continue. You see what I'm saying? So basically the reconnect would precede the normal, the non-segregated, such that we wouldn't have to put the non-segregated version of the main while loop into a function. We would just have the segregated version put into a function. And we don't even have to put it in a function. It could just exist naturally, as part of the same function. Like, there is no function. It's just the file, and well, we do need the CS loop. Well, we actually don't need to put the CS loop in a function. So let me show. And I'd probably be able to. That's what this is for. I don't need to use paint. I was thinking I could use paint, but I am just gonna write it out like this. So we're gonna have while true, then we're gonna have menu screen, and this doesn't necessarily that's a hard one to spell, isn't it? Doesn't necessarily have to be in a function. Can be straight up code. And then we would have if reconnect is equal to true, we'll call it, well, then how do we, yeah, how do we utilize our checkpoint int? Well, in that case, well, that just seems a bit silly, because then we would be saying, well, we could do this preliminarily, as a preliminary step before transitioning it into a function. Because it is kind of silly to repeat the entire main while loop. Like, but even if we put it in a function, we would still technically be repeating it, you know? Like, so it wouldn't look like as ugly, but it would still be as ugly in reality. So I would prefer to not put anything in function that's like big, and this is gonna be like big. This is the whole main while loop, and it works as it is. So I would like to not mess to break it up. You know, it's like an entire working hand. It was really hard to get that hand working together perfectly. I don't want to rip the fingers and knuckles and, you know, snatch it from the wrist and everything. I don't want to disassemble it, disassemble, because then I risk not putting it back together correctly. So preferably we would just do it like this, at least at first. We can always transition to a function later, you can always improve, but for safety's sake, we would just do it like that. We would say main, which that could probably be in a function because it's new code, it's probably going to be short code. It's okay to put that in a function, but the main while loop, I'm not going to put that in function. So say if reconnect is equal to true, then we're going to basically do this. I think we would go with this option where we say if checkpoint int. Well, at this point we don't need to check for reconnect. We just say if checkpoint int is equal to 1, you know, run first section, and we would just literally like paste, just straight up paste first section here, paste first section here, and then elif checkpoint int baby is equal to 2. We would run the second section here, checkpoint int is equal to 2, run second section, paste second section here, and then we'll just say so on and so forth, and then we'd have it would go all the way elif checkpoint int is equal to 20. Why it did that, baby? So it goes all the way to 20, and there we go. We run 20th section here. 20th last section, and same thing. 20th and section here, last section, and then we say, so if we checkpoint in 2, either checkpoint in 20, bam, there we go. Now then we would just have the regular main while loop code, just succeeds it, bam. So if reconnect is true, so this basically acts as a preliminary section that only gets run one time. If you're reconnecting, you get your checkpoint ID from your save file, you would then sort through your if elif until you got to the number section for your checkpoint. Let's just say you jump in at 20. It's going to run the 20th section, the last section. Of course, it's going to have to load in proper data from save file. That's going to involve, some intelligent, preliminary code I'm going to have to create. And then after we're done with that, we would just run the regular main while loop code. So there's nothing stopping us, baby. There's nothing stopping us from just running it straight up immediately after. And since that, well, we would have to, like, we'd have to put that in a while loop, right? Because we want that to just keep running again and again. Is that true? Right? While true, run regular main while loop code. Yeah. Very simple, right? I like this. Simple is good. Simple is good. Complicated is bad. Big refactor, bad. More lines, bad. Less lines, good. As they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, dude. Leave it alone. I like this. This is great. This is what we're gonna do. That should work. I think that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. No. Like I said, it is going to be repeating ourselves technically because we're going to have all this, all the code that's here is also gonna be here. But even if we were to put it in a function, we would still have it repeated in two places. We would just call the two functions, and the two functions would have the code inside of them, and they would be separate. So it would be a little bit prettier in that sense. But the other option would be us having one set of the main while code that was checkpointed out, you know what I mean? And in that case, we would check for a reconnect on every line. So we'd basically enter into the main while loop right up here, and I guess I'll just write it out real quick. But I'm pretty sure I'm not going to do this option, just because I don't think that's what I'm going to do. So we'd have the while true menu screen, and then we would say if reconnect is equal to false, or checkpoint int is equal to 1, and then we would still have to check if reconnect is equal to true. We would have to load in proper data from save file. Then we would have if reconnect is equal to false or checkpoint int is equal to 1, run first section, and then so on and so forth. It look like this. Say if reconnect is equal to false or checkpoint is equal to 1, and same thing here. If reconnect is equal to false or checkpoint int is equal to 2, again if reconnect is equal to false or checkpoint int is equal to 20, run 20th slash the last section, paste 20th slash last section here. So there you go, baby. You got while true, menu screen, if reconnect is equal to true, load in proper data from save file. If reconnect is equal to false or checkpoint int is equal to 1, run first section. And honestly, I don't know, like this is cleaner, right? But the divvying up of these sections like this, which this problem would exist with either option. Let's get rid of these. It's bothering me. Oops. So either way, if we did it one way or the other, let's show this option 2. Option number 1 main while loop, and then option 1 is two main while loops. Next. It would run once. Forever after. Like a fairy tale. Forever after. So yeah, either way, we would still have the issue of like dividing the code up into if elifs. You know what I mean? I don't know how. I guess it would work, right? Like, would it work if we like? Let's just grab a certain section, like this one. We'll say this would be a checkpoint. We'll say instead of instead of this existing as it would, we would have some code that said if checkpoint int is equal to, let's just call this 10, or reconnect is equal to false, then we would run this code these 4 lines. Okay, but that would mean we would have to indent this code, and like the fact that this if is gonna be inside of this if, is that okay? Like, would that work? Because it, like, just for instance, you have, let's just say this would be another section. Let's say checkpoint int is equal to 9. Oops. If checkpoint int is equal to 9 or reconnect is equal to false, we would run these lines. Okay. And then, I mean, that's fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that. That was all in my head, the complication there. And then, you know, let's just say, well, it would only enter this section if ready, though. But like, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? I don't see that there's nothing wrong with putting that inside of an if, right? It'll still work just the same. We would just have a lot more indentation going on, right? Because technically each checkpoint if statement is to like be nested, right? It's going to be nested into the previous checkpoint if block. No, that's not true. Yeah, that's not true. It wouldn't be nested because no, it would exist at the same level. So after this, let's just say this was one section. Now this would be the next one. This one would be a checkpoint is equal to 11, and all this code would exist inside of that if block, and then we go down here. And then we do checkpoint is equal to 12. You see what I'm doing here? And then bam, you just put this code inside of it. So on and so forth, baby. I feel like that's a good way. I feel like there's nothing wrong with this method. I don't think we're wrong in doing it this way. Yeah, I actually like that. I think this is safe. So in that sense, yeah, as long as we, in the case that we're re-entering into the while loop at a certain checkpoint, as long as we properly, we'd have to have like a section that preceded this main while loop that got the checkpoint int, and then based on that checkpoint int, loaded in certain data. Obviously, like that data would be different for each checkpoint. Certain checkpoints are going to require a different setup, we'll call it just setup, to get us back where we were as far as data wise. You know what I'm saying? You feel what I'm saying? So as long as we did that before we were entering into these if checkpoint ints, etc., etc., having just the one main while loop that contained all these different if checkpoint int or reconnect is equal to false, like that's fine. The overhead of checking an if is so nothing. It's so small. It is infinitesimal. It is very small. So I would prefer to just have the one main while loop, which is, I'd change my mind. I said I would rather have the two, but that was because I thought it was going to be more complicated. But I think this option actually is perfectly fine. There's anything wrong with that. So get checkpoint E and run checkpoint specific code to load proper data, and bam, then we just would go about business as usual, which would be, this would actually be while true, and this would be the main while loop. Begin. I actually like the word start better. Loop start. And there. So that, I think, is going to be what we're gonna do. So this is not option 1 anymore. We're going to make this be, this is option 1 main one. So now we're going to get rid of this baby. Get rid of this baby. Cause that was a bad baby. That baby was ugly. That was an ugly baby. Babies are not ugly. Babies are beautiful. But that baby right there was, it was still beautiful. Okay. This one is just more beautiful. Don't use that word. Here, okay. Everything is beautiful. Something's just so true. Option 1, main while loop, while true, menu screen, if reconnect is equal to true, get checkpoint ID, run checkpoint specific code to load in proper data. While true, main while loop, start. Forgot your colon, dude. If reconnect is equal to false or checkpoint ID is equal to 1, run first section. We're not going to do elif. Because, well, they're not going to be on the same indentation level. First of all. Second of all, the code is not functionalized, so we wouldn't be able to do that. They would have to exist on different indentation levels, unless we turned all the code into functions, which we're not doing that. So. Baby, I love it. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. So I should move this to like my things to do, right? Move this to things to do, and we can begin redoing the client file to conform to that new proposed system. So we have implement CS checkpoint system. Modify unique save file. Create reconnect system. So we'll call this a different issue. We'll call this what are we gonna call it, baby? We can call it Bootang. What are we gonna call it? BM. Call it, no, not BM. Not BM, though. We're gonna call it CS Pi reconnect restructure. Okay. Okay. I'm with you, baby. Why is this different than the rest? Because we used a colon instead of a dash. We're going to say restructure the overall logic of client to adopt, accommodate the reconnect system, baby. And how are we going to do that? I love. How are we going to do that my love, we're going to um, structure it as follows. Bam. Why this? Baby, what's going on here? Option 1. Okay, I see. There we go. There we go. Alright, I gotta answer my pants. I gotta use the body. I'll be back, baby. I'll be back, baby. I'll be back. Okay, darling baby, boo, we're back. Me, myself, and I are to take it to the next level, next step, to be either implementation of the checkpoint system or the implementation of the client. This is not right. CL, it should be CL. Client by reconnect restructure. And I think we're gonna do the client by reconnect restructure first. So let us do it. We're gonna go all the way to the tippity top. We're gonna not implement the so eventually this is going to change. Well, like, is each client create client 1, 2? Actually use this. So we use other clients. We do with other client. Use constant does not send or receive. So this is actually just dead code, right? We don't ever even use other clients. But we do use other game, other player, right? Is that true? Actually not. But we do use other player, right? So when we call dirt check though, because we do modify. That was good. We do modify the other player's data, right? Baby, don't lie to me. Tell me the truth. We do, baby, we do. Where is it? I know it's here. Where is it? When we run dirt check, baby, we do. Where is dirt check? It's the big function. It's the big function here. Never mind. It is. Okay. That's it was collapsed. Okay. Alright. Client ID, tube sender ID, dir string, receive data, receive times. Okay, so we do modify it, but we modify it in terms of the name game object or player object. We don't reference it in terms of current player or other player, which is fine. We don't like have to do it that way. It doesn't affect anything. Yeah, I feel. Yeah, it doesn't affect anything. So that is dead code, and you know my favorite thing to do. It's to get rid of dead code. So my timer's going off. That means it's time to take our break, but I want to remember. So let's see. It's going to. But we do use current client. Like we do that. So rent client. Is that? It's funny. Current client. We use that in 110 places, which means, well, do we actually though to create a second? You know what I mean? Like, couldn't we just have one client? Just not client 1 nor client 2, just client, and that would allow us the same capability. Like it would there would be no actual difference with a distinction, you know? And we would just refer to client as current client. Yeah, I feel like we can do that. I feel like why should we not be able to do that? Like, we don't actually have to create 2 instances of client, because all we do is assign current client to one of the clients. But like, it doesn't matter. There's no reason to have a second one. If we're the client 1, we would just current client would equal client, and then on the other client's client, if their ID was 2, their current client would also just equal client, the one client instance, because they're technically 2 separate instances because they're on 2 separate machines. So, you know, there's not a real reason to have another client, because we don't use other client, that variable. We don't need it. I think that's fine. I think that would be a safe thing to change, and it would be less dead code, which is good. All right, so yeah, we're gonna take our break. I'm gonna go to the very top here. I'll put this note here. 1-2-25. Realized after review consideration that we can completely remove all client to other client code and instantiate only one client as for current clients equals clients. Essentially only one client instead of creating 2 of them. There's no reason to use have a second, since they're not used. Yay! So we're gonna remove all that stuff. So we'll put this as our first issue. We'll put clients to spell approval. I realize after consideration that we can completely remove client to other client, since only one client for current client equal client, instead of creating 2 of them. There's no reason to have a second instance since they're not used ever. Remove all associated logic. Be careful. Don't break the code. Okay, baby. Oh, man. Alright, so we're gonna go take a break. We're gonna come back. We're gonna do that. Actually, you know, I might go punch on the punch bag. Is the gym should be back open to its regular hours. My gym is 24/7, but the room that has the heavy bag is not open 24/7. It's only open whenever it's open. I guess because it has like a door outside or something, and it's not. You could sneak people in or whatever, I guess, so they keep it locked. It kind of sucks because I really would like to be able to go 24/7, but it is what it is. Beggars can't be choosers, baby. So buy your own gym, make your own gym. Anyway, it is that time. I usually go at this time. You know, I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm just gonna go work out, get my energy levels back up because I am feeling very lethargic, very sleepy. The coffee has me feeling anxious but not energetic. I'm sure you all know coffee drinker what I'm talking about. It's giving me anxiety. It's not giving me energy. That's just the way it works. I probably need to eat a little more as well. And yeah, I'm gonna go work out, hit on the heavy bag, and then we will jump back in. I'll probably do another couple hours. Trying to shoot for that 3 hours a day during the week, and at least 1 hour, you know, on like Saturday or Sunday to get an extra hour in. Ideally, I would like to smash 5 hours each day, but I don't want to overdo it because I do work 3.5 to 4 hours at my other job, and I usually stay busy otherwise, like accounting work, like taking care of life things to get very ahead and very caught up so that I can have more time to. So I'll see you guys in a couple of hours, probably. It's gonna be at least an hour. I usually punch, and then I come back, eat, take a shower, and take a little like 20-minute break, and then we're gonna jump back in. So yeah, I'll see you in about 2 hours or so.